A number of interesting things have happened in the last couple of days. Yesterday, of course, or last night, Russia bombed Dnipro and hit two buildings. And part of that was because of this. Where are we? This person, Prince Vladimir. And this is a film which was made a few years ago, an animated film. It's part of the Russian animation renaissance, which gave us a number of films, like, for example, this one and this one. I mean, plenty of these films. They're tremendously made. They're great fun. They're beautifully animated. And while I was in Russia, I met a lot of very good Russian animators. But this first film, the Prince Vladimir, commemorates the baptism of the Rus, which in Russia is celebrated on the 28th, that's yesterday. And President Zelenskyy has now moved by presidential decree the celebration of that date to the 15th. So neither the Moscow Patriarchate nor Ukraine are actually celebrating this according to the Julian calendar, which is ironic. But so on the 28th of July, the Russian Orthodox Church honours the memory of the baptism of the Rus. According to the chronicles, on the 28th of July in 988, Prince Vladimir became Prince Vladimir, the Red Sun, became Christian. He was the youngest son of Prince Sviatoslav of Kiev and the grandson of the Grand Duchess Olga. And shortly before his death, Sviatoslav divided Russian lands between his three sons, senior Yarapolk, who went to Kiev, and the middle son, Oleg, the Earth-Pressed, and the youngest, Vladimir, who began to rule in Novgorod. But soon after his father's death, the three sons started fighting, and Vladimir, the Duke of Russia, became the most important. And Vladimir captured the city of Chersonesos, belonging to the Byzantine Empire. He threatened to march on Constantinople, Istanbul, and the prince asked the Byzantine emperors for the hand of the Tsarina Anna. And when the princess arrived with the clergy, Vladimir suddenly went blind. And in the hope of healing him, Anna invited him to be baptized, which he did so immediately. During the baptism, the prince received his sight again and exclaimed, "Now I see the true God." And he was baptized in honor of Saint Basilis, and he founded a number of churches, and his bones are in the in the great church on the banks of the river Dnipro. He had 12 sons. He had them all baptized, and then he began earnestly to eradicate Russian paganism. And so Russia sees its origins as going back to the days of Prince Vladimir of Ukraine. And that is part of the problem. And President Zelenskyy and President Putin is only too keen to establish the idea that, and as part of his propaganda campaign at the moment, that Zelenskyy and Ukraine are the Satan, and that he, Putin, is reclaiming Orthodox Rus, the Orthodox foundations of Russia in Kiev, for the Russian Orthodox Church. It's a crusade by the Kremlin against the Satanists, the neo-Nazis and the followers of Hitler and Bandera, he says, in Kiev. Well, the only neo-Nazis in Ukraine are the ones put there by the Wagner Brigade. They are the only neo-Nazis. They are neo-Nazis. Why are they neo-Nazis? Why is it so obvious? My goodness! Their whole brigade was named by their founder after the musician that inspired Hitler. They're named after Wagner. Of course they're neo-Nazis. They club each other to death when they feel that they've not followed their rules, their thuggish rules. They're the only neo-Nazis in Ukraine. And the rest is just propaganda. And it's really important. It's really important to recognize the level of propaganda which Russia is putting out. It's not putting it out for us. It's not for us. And the absurdity of saying, oh, well, we just don't listen to it. This is absurd. Utterly absurd. It's not for us. But it damages us because that propaganda is put out across Russia. And the little babushkas sitting in their flats across the wide expanse of that huge country, with only a television as a source of information, are fed this rubbish day in, day out, hour after hour. Do walk across the camera, please, Bay. And that level of nonsense is what needs to be challenged. We have the ability to do that, and we're not doing it because we think it's not our business. It is as much our business in this war as providing missiles and support to President Zelenskyy if he requests it. We need to challenge that propaganda. We need to challenge the rubbish which Putin is putting out, because it is rubbish and it is offensive.